Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to all our viewers, wherever you are in the world, to the Just 2020 World Indoor Bowls Championship, live here at Potters Resort. And your first game up this afternoon, exciting game, David Gourlay, MBE, plays against John McCrorie. Great schedule of games for you for the rest of the day. Straight after this features another MBE of bowls, Paul Foster, who takes on English qualifier Lee Harris. And then tonight at 7:30, Mark Royal faces the USA qualifier Dan Lemessurier. And of course, we have some fantastic officials here at the World Bowls Tour. Your marker for this game is Dan Blewett. Your umpire is Bernie Hill, and on the shot clock is Francis Fletcher. So I'd like to hand over now live greenside to Stuart Morrison to introduce our players. Over to you, Stuart.
Thank you, Janice. Good afternoon and welcome to the portable rink here at Potters Resort and the Just 2020 World Indoor Championships. It's the first round of the World Indoor Open Singles. So, without further ado, let's bring the players on. From Scotland, please welcome National Mixed Pairs Champion of 2018, PBA qualifier from Falkirk, John McCrorie. And Scotland's national high performance coach and former world indoor singles champion, world ranked number 4, David Gourlay, MBE. And it gives me great pleasure to hand you back to the commentary of Janice Gower.
Thank you very much, Stuart. And welcome back to all you viewers. Thanks for joining us here on the World Bowls Tour live streaming for the first game up this afternoon. David Gourlay MBE plays against the Scottish qualifier John McCrorie. Now, you might have seen this lineup before. It happened once before in 2018, 2 years ago. John McCrorie won the Falkirk qualifier, came all the way to Potters and faced David Gourlay.
Shot length
So
26
it's a bit
metres.
of a deja vu moment for us all out there. John, who's on the mat there, will be hoping it's not going to be a deja vu scoreline though, because in 2018 David Gourlay took that game in straight sets, 8-3, 10-2. Quite a decent opener from John. It's all about the early game, just getting your pace. The green's still swinging. Very quick. Settled down a bit over the last 4 or 5 days, but still getting a nice bend on all 4 hands. Of course, into day 7 of the championship. John, have you just adjusted this? Something similar. Still leaves quite a bit of room for David Gourlay. David Gourlay, as Stuart mentioned, the high performance coach for Bowls Scotland. He resides in Spain, in the beautiful little coastal town of Sitges. His husband Stephen, but travels over to Scotland frequently for his work. So plays some bowls out of the Prestwick Bowls Club while he's over here. Ranked 4 in the world. John McCrorie, married to Angela from East Lothian Indoor Bowls Club.
Gap of 12 inches.
David down a very good track again here. Just needs to start finishing. No, it's gone to cover the 3 bowls at the back, takes any danger away from there. Now John, pace needs to start just coming off. Swoops all the way back to centre. Just overplayed. Players play under the shot clock here in the open singles from the last 32, which gives them 30 seconds from the previous bowl coming to rest to deliver their bowl. David nicely there on 14 seconds. And 5 times within the main part of the game. Take a 60-second timeout.
One shot, David Gourlay.
An extra 60 seconds. So, opening end goes to David Gourlay. 1 shot.
Set score 1-0, first end.
David Gourlay had a fantastic season in the World Bowls Tour 2017-18, where he won the Scottish International Open and then followed it with the International Open. And the same year was a quarter-finalist here at the World Singles as well.
Shot length 23 metres.
To the quarter-final. The Scottish International Open back in November. Very consistent player. Rightfully it has the ranking number 4 in the world. His MBE is for services to bowls. John McCrorie, previous Scottish outdoor champion. He says on his player profile many moons ago, back in 2000. More recently he won the mixed pairs championship with Dee Hoggan, his daughter. I'm sure Dee's tuning in. Dee, a very good player, just got selected for the Scottish World Bowls team. Excellent young player. Spends a lot of time down at his local bowling club. John says, big bowling family.
On green.
David Gourlay's won every title in the book. Most consistent players in the World Bowls Tour. High performance coach now for Bowls Scotland, so coaches a lot of the top players. As we were saying about John being a big bowling family, we've going to give a shout out to Granny Grace. Grace McCrorie, who's John's mum, and she will be 90 later this year. So, just on that cue, the son draws a beautiful bowl into the head. So, I'm sure you're joining us, Granny Grace, and all the best for your 90th birthday. And John sends his best wishes and says hi to his very own amazing Grace.
David has 4 timeouts remaining.
There you see David's taken the first of his timeouts. Shot clock counting down there. Always handy, David, if you remember the bowl you're about to play. A little bit of a smile to the audience there, good sense of humour as David. Laying down a narrow line now, just wants a chip on the bowl. This is a tough shot to play. It'll Start to move now very quickly. Holding one at the moment, John. Down the safe hand.
One shot, John McCrorie.
Overplayed, but levels the game up 1-all. So opening set, we play 2 sets of 9 ends, and if necessary, a 3-end
Set
tiebreak.
score 1-1 after 2 ends.
Can't stay with us all afternoon. Hopefully you can, because we've got another cracking game coming up straight after this. Paul Foster, MBE, takes on the English qualifier Lee Harris. But you'll pick up all the news and results on worldbowlstour.tv, and we're available on Twitter at WBT_TV and on Facebook. And while you're with us on streaming, don't forget, you can put your questions to us. If I don't know the answer, I'll find a person who does, and let us know where you're viewing from. Our wonderful sponsors here, Just and Potters Resort. We're always interested to find out the vast array of countries we have tuning in. Got viewers in Montreal, Canada, tuning in this afternoon, and in the UK, in Durham and Norwich. Well, welcome to you all. Keep the posts coming in. Our production team, they don't come directly through to commentary, do any of the posts, but our production team get to take all those details down. And if you do click the share button, anybody else that's a friend of yours on Facebook or through YouTube will see that you're watching Bowls live. They may want to join us. And even better, if you click the subscribe, you'll get a notification when we go live. Fantastic amount of viewers we've had this year for the streaming. So many very positive comments. It's been lovely. Thank you so much. Well, great ball by John there. He's really settled in. I think the experience of 2 years ago will have helped. He's been here before, often makes a difference.
Your bowl to the jack or the 2 bowls? 1.5 gap.
Hand runner here from David Gourlay, normally so accurate with these. Very small target. Let's see what nice turnout we have in the crowds here for this game. An all Scotland affair. Good cover ball there from John. I think David will go again with this. The target area. Oh, he doesn't like it. The back bowl away. Unusual for David to miss with 2. Walking back down to the mat here, still got plenty of time to deliver the bowl. When we work under the shot clock, you don't have the rink possession rules as we do in ordinary domestic play. You can visit the head as often as you want, you just have to bowl that bowl within the 30 seconds. Disturb your opponent in walking up and down, but apart from that, walk down as often as you'd like. Still think David will go again here. Really like to run with 3 bowls, none of us do, but centre red bowl does remove both green. Missed again.
2 shots, John McCrorie.
No, 2 shots to John. I'm sure Granny Grace at home in Scotland.
Set
We'll
score
be
1-3
pleased
after
with
3
that.
ends.
Well, we're on about Ireland. We have viewers out there in Belfast listening in to us. Thanks so much for your company. Grace is back up there in East Lothian, Scotland.
Jack length 24.5 metres.
Gap of 13 inches.
Down a good track again here, David. What's pace like? It's to run. Well played by David there. Still opportunity for John, just a little trail on the jack. Some fantastic comments in about the coverage we're providing to you. Thanks so much for the very kind comments. My last day in commentary with you. I hand over at this point to Jason Parkinson, who unfortunately due to personal reasons can't be with us here at Potters this year.
Two red.
I'm sure he'll be back with us in future World Bowls Tour events. And of course, when the BBC arrive next Monday, it's taken over by BBC commentary team. Fantastic that we've got terrestrial coverage for the last few days of the tournament. You still get it on the streaming, of course. Stay with us if you can. Through for every bowl played out there on the streaming. Now, David. Looks good for 3. Looks very good for 3.
Three shots, David Gourlay.
Set score 4-3 after 4 ends. Shot length 25 metres.
mentioned before, John McCrorie comes from a very strong bowling background. Family all bowls, including Granny Grace. 90 this year, that's an absolutely fantastic achievement. Nice would it be for Granny Grace to get the present of her son playing well at this championship. Just overplayed again there, David, and it looks like this might be going the same direction. Oh, just pulling up. Can it sit back?
Two green.
Now, David, just stay up. Sat down, it might still
One
be
red.
shot. Yeah, one red. Dan Blewett, our match officials out there, very, very good eyes. They're our eyes out on the rink from streaming. We all work very closely here as a team. Fantastic team, nice to all be pulling for each other, which is good when we spend so much time at these events. We have a good laugh as well. Now David just needs to be a little bit careful here, doesn't want to touch the jack through to the green bowl. Quite happy to just rest on his own. Just underplayed that. Now John, little touch on this jack, down a good line. He's very close, needs to run. Oh, he's just got to wiggle through the gap. Holes for bowls.
One shot, David Gourlay.
Very unlucky there, John, really. Any sort of piece of the jack would have done. Little touch.
Set score 5-3 after 5 ends.
But instead, it's David Gourlay, MBE, who takes the shot at that end, and after 5 ends, he leads 5-3. Crowd here at Potter's Resort. I believe there's still a few day tickets available to come down and sit in the stands and
27 metres.
be here with these fantastic players. Just contact Potter's Resort, they'll let you know what's available. Very appreciative crowd. It's very nice at Potter's Resort. It's one of the few venues where when we're walking about in the foyer, etc., you get a chance to speak to some of the audience, and they ask questions then, and if you have any questions now, feel free to ask them. Start by John. Still a bit of room, 2 feet. To start easing. Ease off the pace. to just rest on something, John.
1 green and a measure. One red.
Well, we've had a question from one of the viewers about the weight of the jack. I believe it has to be somewhere between 225 and 285 grams. To be a legal jack. It is perfectly round jack, whereas the
One
bowls
shot,
have
David
shape
Gourlay.
to them. And that's one shot to David Gourlay. That gives him a 6-3 lead after 6 ends.
Set score 6-3 after 6 ends. Shot length 26.5 metres.
A little bit of a disturbance in the crowd there. So there's no shot clock between the jack and the first bowl delivered, so plenty of time for David to reset himself. Tends to happen if we get a packed crowd in. There will obviously be the occasional noise, and it's very much amplified within the stadium. Good opener from David here. To just run.
"15 inches from jack high."
Slight adjustment for David. He just wants to slip past the green bowl. Just making the trip here.
One red.
David just confirming his holding shot at this end. Again, he just wants to slip past the green bowl. He's lacking.
Just the one.
John just asking if he had 2 seconds there. Might have gone for David's bowl if he had, but he's just got the 1 second. Now, can you start to swing here? Sit. Sat down. I think he's still 1 down. Now, David, have you corrected the weight? And there's lovely Judy Potter. Floral jacket, I would probably call that. There's always a competition for what colour jacket Judy will wear on the Open Singles Finals day. Some amazing jackets. Big supporter of bowls, loves her bowls, does Judy, as does the rest of the Potters family. And they're very supportive of these championships.
One shot, David Gourlay.
One shot to David. The ends are just starting to slip away from John McCrorie now in this first set. Yeah, so I call that a floral jacket with
Set score 7-3
the highlight
after 7
of the
ends.
yellow. Gourlay, 4-shot lead with 2 ends to play in this first set
Jack
at
length
9 ends.
28 metres.
One of these interesting facts for you ladies and gentlemen out there is that if David Gourlay happened to pick up 1 shot at this end, he would win the first set 8-3. And back in 2018, when he played John McCrorie, he won the first set 8-3. I'm full of pieces of useless information like that, but it's always very interesting. I'm always interested in the pattern of scoring and results. Something you viewers out there will be interested in knowing about. David's got to score the 1 shot to do that, but John will be wanting to stop that. Needs to really ideally be scoring 2 or 3 shots at this end, John, to give himself a chance going into the final end.
One green.
Has just told me that somebody's commented that I might get a job working for the commentary in London Fashion Week. That's very kind of
One
you
green.
out there, whoever said that, but fashion sense is probably not just way out there as some of these events go. I mean, I'm sat here in Drake's Pride shoes, Drake's Pride shirt, Drake's Pride trousers. Got to give that as a plug for Drake's Pride, haven't I? No, I'm not quite your Gucci person. Other, of course, companies are available. I'm glad you're enjoying the commentary, and I'm glad you're enjoying the World Bowls Tour streaming coverage. Now, David. Made it. Still a lot of room there, though.
One red.
1 red. Well, John, need to score shot here, but really wants to score 2 or 3. Shot would take us into the final end. Gone through. Can it sit in?
One shot in the first set, David Gourlay.
So David Gourlay takes the first set here in 2020, 8-3. He took the first set back in 2018, 8-3. So John McCrorie got to win this second set to take us into a tie-break. Winner of this game will face another Scot, Michael Stepney, who qualified through this morning. Michael beat Scott Walker from Australia this morning, 11-2, 8-7. It's a close fought second set there. David, swing back, get a touch on the jack. Just missed it. Receiver there. John McCrorie won't want the same score as he had in the second set. Like 2 years ago, he lost the second one, 10-2.
One green.
Now David, little touch on the jack for 3. Doesn't want to adjust his weight that much, similar sort of pace. Just allow the ball to swing back to centre. Get a touch on the jack as you go. Close again. On through. And McCrorie swapping hand now. Sees the danger, doesn't want to trail the jack himself. Oh, there we go. Team McCrorie out there in the crowd, and it is Dee. Dee's sat out there supporting. Dee, the young lady with the headband there, was played with John McCrorie in the Mixed Pairs Championship nationally in Scotland. Won it back in 2018. Of course, we mustn't forget that Granny Grace, 90 years old this year, will be supporting at home. There we go, Dee. Lovely Scottish headband. Fantastic support from you viewers out there today. Great coverage and great
One shot, John McCrorie.
spectators. Thanks for joining us. One shot there to John on the first end of the second set.
Set score 0-1, first end.
Lovely to have all you viewers with us wherever you are in the world. Joining us for this all Scottish tie in the first round of the Open Singles here at the Just 2020 World Indoor Bowls Championships. And of course we're live with you here from Potters Resort. Not made the trip. That jack had to reach that little spot in the middle of the green minimum to make minimum, but then his mat would have had to have been behind the tee as well. So for those viewers that'll suddenly whoosh in with the question about minimum and maximum jack lengths, minimum jack length is 23 metres here, maximum jack length 29.5.
Jack length 28 metres.
didn't even have to be measured, that jack length, because it hadn't even reached the minimum mark. So to keep the flow of the games going, the match officials make the decision it was not a length and return the jack. David Gourlay got to set the length of jack. John McCrorie plays the first bowl to it. Don't forget to hit those share and subscribe buttons. You'll get notifications of when future live streams come on. Even after this tournament, you'll be informed when the streams come on for future tournaments. If you do share, then all your friends can see that you're watching live bowls. We've had a lot of new viewers that didn't even know that the streaming was there. And it's quite brilliant now that we provide you with this service. Now close here, just rest back. Yeah, big ball from David there.
1 red.
David and I were talking before the game started. We were saying how often the pace changes out there. It can actually literally change halfway through a game. It's all about adjusting as quickly as you can. John's just been a little bit unfortunate there.
1
It's a
red.
good second bowling.
John's last hole just past jack high, half an inch. No, 1.5 gap. Yes.
Oh, David just sits that in. I think he might have chipped his own out. Dangerous bowl. And John's just asking Dan Blewett to confirm there what his opinion is. He's only given an opinion.
Favour yours, John.
Yeah, and favours the green bowl. Clock counting down. He's just asked for the extra 60 seconds.
John has 4 timeouts remaining.
That's the first time John McCrorie's taken a timeout. Well, what a great bowl from John there. Played that perfect. Nice little reaching bowl. Just down the forehand. Now, back to Mr. Gourlay. I think he'll be short at this. The own short bowl in the middle of your screen might be in the way for his favoured forehand drive, but he could get this down the backhand. He's still looking at the forehand, does favour the forehand. If he gets his own bowl, the one that he just had his toe next to, it would split at least 2 away. Probably some sort of move on the jack. Well, decision made on shot. Going backhand. Looks the better target, to be fair. It's under a line, needs to hold past his own.
Three, John. 3 shots, John McCrorie.
3 shots to John McCrorie. Well, you statisticians out there, it can't happen that John has the same score as in 2018.
Score 0-4 after 2.
Second set, he lost it 10-2. And And he's already scored 4. That's just giving you an indication of what the shot clock sounds like if it goes off. Francis Fletcher on shot clock. Must have just had a bit of interference from somewhere. It's always good to hear what it sounds like, but preferably not just when you're in the middle of a delivery. Woke a few people up. Anybody having a light doze after the lunch? Nice high line, needs to make it back to centre. It's all about getting perfect weight out there. Hearing in from our production team, director and producer over the other side of the room, that we've got fantastic viewing figures for this game.
2 green. The gap is 11 inches.
So glad you're all able to join us. Viewing figures for this streaming have been amazing this year. Sure, it's all down to the fact that you're liking and sharing the streaming. Sponsors always looking at these sort of figures. All matters to them for being involved with bowls, how many viewers we're getting out to. So I know just the sponsors here and Potters Resort are delighted with the viewing figures, as are the directors of the World Bowls Tour. We never imagined we'd be hitting these sort of figures this year. But it's lovely for you to all join us. He looks close again here. What a great bowl from John McCrorie here. Sat right behind the jack.
3 green. 3.
3 green. Pressure on the world number 4. Now, down a perfect track here, David. Weight doesn't look too shabby either. Well, has he just come up with a perfect bowl? He has. What a bowl from David Gourlay. Just when he was looking to be a little bit under the cosh from John McCrorie there.
1 shot, David Gourlay. Comes
up with a perfect bowl.
Set score 1-4 after 3 ends.
Don't forget to let us know where you're tuning in from. So many viewers out there. It'd be fantastic to hear of any exotic places. We've had various over the last few days. I've got a long list to provide the sponsors and directors with. So if you're
24 metres.
Tuning in from somewhere, let us know where. And also any questions, we'll try and get them answered for you. The winner of this game will face Michael Stepney in the second round of games. Another question we often have is, when do the mixed pairs and the Ladies World Match Play start? Well, they start Friday morning. The man out there in red, David Gourlay, actually is the first game on Friday morning. He's playing with somebody you might have heard of. He's playing with a Janice Gower, and they face off against last year's champions Robert Paxton and Ellen Faulkner. Then we have Greg Harlow and Alison Merry in MBE face Darren Burnett and the young Nicole Rogers. Then Paul Foster, MBE, and Julie Forrest face Nick Brett and Marion Purcell. And final game on in the mixed pair, Stuart Anderson and the young Lorna Cameron from Scotland face Les Gillett and New Zealand's Rhonda Adams. That all starts on Friday morning. Still got 2 days, today and tomorrow, of full open singles play. Variable feast of bowls, and I'm sure there's going to be some humdinger of games as we go along. Every game brought to you by the World Bowls Tour streaming. BBC join us for the final week and have coverage of most of the games on. But all the games available on the World Bowls Tour streaming, wherever you are in this world.
What's the gap between David and the white?
2.5 inches.
Chance for David to draw in for a shot here. So we consider the streaming team here to all be Jays. We've got myself, Janice, and Yanas and James in the production side. James Light, back with us at the weekend, and has asked for a shout out. James, we're missing you, dear. Of course, regular viewers of World Bowls Tour streaming will have noticed that we are missing the voice of Jason Parkinson this afternoon. Jason's normally joined us at this point, and we're getting a lot of comments in asking if Jason is joining us. Unfortunately, due to personal reasons, he can't make it for this tournament.
2 shots, David Gourlay.
Set score 3-4 after 4 ends.
So David Gourlay won the first set here, 8-3. John McCrorie just ahead in the second set after 4 ends, 4-3.
Shot length 26.5 metres.
He's under pace here, David.
1 green and a measure.
Still a bit of room there.
Two green and a measure. It's very close between those two and that one at the back. One green.
Just to slot another shot in here. A little bit of room. It's down a good track. All on your pace, John. Needs to just make the trip.
One shot, John McCrorie.
Just the one. Keeps his nose in front.
Set score 3-5 after 5 ends. Shot length 27.5 metres.
Down a wide line here. It will make it all back to centre. All on pace. Needs to ease off the pedal. Yeah, done enough. Four ends left to play in this second set. It's a set that John McCrorie, the East Lothian Bowling Club indoors, he plays outdoors at Tranent, needs to win this set to take us into the tie break. Packed crowd out there. It's lovely to see. Now, David on a very good line here. Just needs to make the trip. Doing well for him.
Two red.
Can it just get inside the red bowl? No, just overplayed it. It's one of those where he played to just try and reach. You tend to overreach as the carpet's running so quickly.
18 inches.
As we were saying before, it seems to change at different times of the day. Gets warmer as the afternoon goes on, and the surface seems to get certainly quicker throughout the afternoon games. To a good home this for David. Splits those back 2 bowls. Now John, down a very good track here. Needs bowl or jack. Any connection? Not the gap. A couple of times in this game where he's got unfortunate gaps.
2 red.
I think we'll see David change to play down the forehand here. There's no danger. Holding 2. Chance for a 3. All on his pace. Don't think he's here. Two shots. Ties the scores after 6 ends, 5 all. Don't forget, if you can't stay with us, you get all that news and results on worldbowlstour.tv.
Set score
Try and stay with
5-5
us if you
after
can,
6
because
ends.
not 10 minutes after this game streaming finishes, a new stream will be up and running, and it'll be available for Paul Foster MBE versus the English qualifier Lee Harris. And then tonight at 7:30, another repeat. Mark Royal
Shot
plays
length
Dan
24.5
Lemessurier.
metres.
Mark Royal faced Dan back in November at the Scottish International Open. They face each other again this evening. Join us live for that game at 7:30 tonight. Of a tease for tomorrow's games. We've got some really good games on tomorrow. Start at 10 o'clock with Mervyn King, who plays New Zealand's Craig Tinker. Then at 2 o'clock, one of the games of the first round, Nick Brett faces Scott Edwards, just ranked outside the top 16. Scott
1 red.
plays a lot of singles games, and he's one of the favourites to beat a seed in the first round here. I'm sure Nick Brett will have something to say about that. Then we have Darren Burnett faces Englishman from Cumbria, Kevin Harrison. Tomorrow night at 7:30, Mark Dawes faces the other New Zealand qualifier, Elliot Mason. We're with you for all of those games on the World Bowls Tour streaming. You'll have the dulcet tones of Mr. Richard Maddison to join you all day tomorrow. Close here, John. Nice little glide.
1 green. One inch. 1 shot, John McCrorie.
Set score 5-6 after 7 ends.
Well, John McCrorie again put his nose in front to 7 ends. It's 5. It's a tight game, this second set. Could go either way. John McCrorie's got to win this set to take us into a tie break.
Shot length 28.5 metres.
Just drop 2 feet short. Questions coming about how the draws are made for the various different tournaments here at
2.5 feet.
the World Championships. The top 16 seeds worlds, that's the top 16 ranked players. Seeded number 1 will be last year's champion, which was Stuart Anderson. He happens to be world number 1 as well, but if he hadn't been world number 1, he would have been seeded 1 here. They face against the qualifiers from all over the world. Bit of a disturbance there for David, just taking his time. In the world pairs, you start at world number 1 and work down the top players, and they get to choose who their partner is within the seeds. And of course, if you're a qualifier, you choose your own partner and try and qualify with a friend or somebody that you play well with. The mixed pairs, the defending champions always get the right to defend playing together. That's Robert Paxton and Ellen Faulkner. And then the other ladies that are participating in the ladies match play singles that have qualified for that, and there's different qualifying events for those. They get just drawn out of a hat with the other top 8 men, or top 8 open world ranked. Just so happens that the top 8 this year are men. John, chance here. 2 ends left to play, 1 ahead. Gourlay's a little bit on the ropes in this set. Another good ball there from John.
3 green.
3 green. Give him a 4-shot lead going into the final end. He'd won the first set, so a drawn set here would do him to go into round 2. John McCrorie's having none of that at the moment. Now, what's your pace like, David? I don't know whether it's done enough to save.
3 shots, John McCrorie.
9-5 lead going into the final end of the second set.
Set score 5-9 after 8 ends.
David Gourlay won the first set 8-3. John McCrorie 4 shots up with 1 end to play. Looks like we might be going to a tie break unless David Gourlay, the world number 4, can conjure something up and score 4 shots
Back row lady, can you stop using your camera, please?
at
Can you
this
stop using your
end.
camera?
Yes, our match
then
officials
25
there,
metres.
Dan Blewett and Bernie Hill, quick off the mark. We have somebody in the auditorium that's got a flash camera. That is not allowed during play. All mobile phones should be turned off at this stage of a game, or any stage of a game, to be fair. They shouldn't be doing it. Dan Blewett and Bernie Hill quick off the mark there to stop that in the bud. Well, Granny Grace must be delighted at home. Grace McCrorie, 90 this year. John calls her his amazing Grace. John's in control here in this second set.
One red.
John McCrorie very focused there. Anything now, just passing that short red bowl. Give David all sorts of problems to try and score a 4. Good ball there from John, very good ball.
One green.
Fantastic viewing figures for this game. Thank you all for joining us on the World Bowls Tour stream. Determination again from John here. He knows he's got a huge chance of going into the tie break. A lot of the qualifiers would often say that they want to get these top players into a tie break. Of course they want to win the game 2-0, but if you can get into a tie break, often an element of luck comes into the equation. David's got anything on here for a 4 and won't want to use any of his timeouts up. Forehand runner. Get prepared for the next part of the game. He's got 3 out of it, I think.
3 shots. David Gourlay, second set. John McCrorie, match tie break.
So, second set goes to John McCrorie, 9-8, and we're going to a match tie break. Different rules here. It doesn't matter how many shots you count at the end. It's all about winning the end. First of them to win 2 ends. Rules change again in the final end of the tie break if we come to that, but David Gourlay just taking a comfort break. So, short time while we're having this short break. I'll just key up the games for you for the rest of the day. Following straight after this, Paul Foster, MBE, plays English qualifier Lee Harris. And then tonight, there we go, at 7:30, Mark Royal plays Dan Lemesurier. Dan came through the overseas group stages to earn his place to play Mark Royal. Back to this game here. Tie-break time.
First match tie break
Nervous
end.
time.
David on the toss and give the
World
jack
number
to
4.
John.
David Gourlay in a bit of trouble out there in the hands of the Scottish John McCrorie.
Track length 27 metres.
Like a decent opener from John, just running through. Wasted at the back, can always be used later on in an end. Better here from John. Yeah, that's good enough to get it.
Gap, sorry. 14 inches.
Asking for the gap there. Just delivery by 14 inches and you'll sit on the jack, David, basically. Wide line again. Overplayed, David. He's added in 14 inches there, I think. To rest on that red bowl.
One green.
Can tell us an element of nerves for both players out there. But at the moment it's John McCrorie that's in the driving seat. Whole shot. Can David come up with a humdinger of a bowl here to make the difference? Track looks fairly decent. Can it make it? Needs to run. Stays up, it's good enough. Sat down, still think it might be in.
One red.
Yeah, one red. So, John. Have a look at this, backhand draw, just nice little tickle on the jack. Took the jack away, timeout called.
John has 4 timeouts remaining.
Right, he's still got 4 timeouts after this remaining. So plenty of timeouts. David's still got plenty of timeouts. Need to rush the shot. Oh, he's going for a runner. Now, this might just hang off. It's going to do. First end, David Gourlay.
David Gourlay.
It's one of those times where you think, I wish I'd just perhaps drawn it, but the nerves out there, if he'd have managed to take David Gourlay's ball away or the jack full into the ditch, it would have put a lot of pressure on the world number 4. But as it is, David Gourlay takes the first end of the tie-break. If he wins the next end, he wins the match and would face the next opponent of Michael Stepney. John McCrorie wins it, we're going to a final deciding end.
Track length 28.5 metres.
Full length jack here. Now, all on pace, David. Track looks fairly decent. Not a bad opener. A little bit of room, but tie-break ends, they're always hard to play because there's always the nerves out there. John McCrorie's got one of the top seeds here into a tie-break. That element of nerves starts to take over. He's down a very good track here. What's your pace like, John? just trailed under, but again, it's a good receiving bowl.
Yes.
David will know that. To cover that bowl, but he'll also want to get a better bowl in. This looks like it's trailing a bit now, running on. Again, I think John's just running. You can see that there's nerves out there. The crowd is so quiet at the moment. Tension all round. Tension for the man in red. World number 4. In a bit of trouble in his first round game. It's to finish centre, doesn't want to set up a target.
2 red.
Jack high, the last bowl.
Last bowl is about 7 inches short of Jack
Dee
high.
Hogan, best lady players going in Scotland. She's got herself into the world squad. Won the national mixed pairs with John McCrorie back in 2018. Now, are you on target, John? Are you in the target area? No, just overplayed that, too wide. Again, just showing that there is that element of nerves out there. What would you have played, Dee? Hear the murmurings in the crowd as Judy loves her bowls. This is a exciting time for everybody in the crowd. Nervy time for the 2 players. David's deciding to cover and go deep here. Not a bad plan. There's a lot of holes there for bowls to go through. The perfect bowl, of course, is the draw, but at this stage, when you're in a tie break, well, John McCrorie got to be holding shot when this bowl comes to rest. He looks under a line to me. He looks under a line to me. David Gourlay, well,
in the match.
played
David
your
Gourlay.
get out of jail card there. Won the tie break 2-0. Takes his place against Michael Stepney in the next round. And join us very shortly after this about 10-minute break for a new stream where you'll be featuring Paul Foster, MBE and Lee Harris. So David Gourlay wins 8-3, loses the second set 8-9 and then takes the tie break 2-0. Thanks for your company.
Well, what a nail-biting finish that was to that match. Congratulations to David Gourlay. Terrific. Round of applause. Commiserations to John.